Hello, I'm Mitra Sorrells, and I am delighted to be back talking with Greg Abbott. He is Senior Vice President of Travel and Hospitality at DataArt. Welcome back, Greg.
Thank you, Mitra. Good afternoon. It's great to talk to you again.
Yeah, I think this is our third year in a row that we've had one of these chats. So,
That's right. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah, exactly. I do have the benefit now of being able to go back and look at what we've talked about in the past, and we can kind of follow up on that. So, of course, last year, the big topic on everyone's mind, maybe the only topic of 2023, seemed to be generative AI. DataArt has more than 50 clients in its travel practice across every sector of travel. Help us understand now, a year later, what are you learning and what type of trends are you seeing about generative AI across your customers?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And thanks again for the opportunity to share some of the trends that we're seeing. We've got a number of trends I would probably share with you. And the first one is kind of a fun one. I call it POC mania, which right after we spoke, right? I mean, it was November 2022 when OpenAI released ChatGPT, and it was 2023 was like the year of POCs, right? Everybody wanted to do a POC overnight. And so there's huge investments into AI exploration. They started pouring in, and it was really POC mania overnight. And so the clients were looking to quickly spin up Gen AI programs, and our AI lab started collaborating with the client teams to validate the business or produce business use cases. And they were largely like in two areas, right? Focused on driving operational efficiencies like contract classification, data extraction, email generation, sentiment processing, things you've heard and reported on many times before, or everybody's favorite client-facing POC chatbots, where I have more chatbots, smarter chatbots here, chatbots there, chatbots everywhere. In fact, I think I've heard enough of chatbots to last a lifetime. But don't worry, somebody will start calling them chat agents, and they'll rebirth again and evolve. So I think looking back, the interesting trend is the fact that the large majority of the proof of concepts have yet to make it into production. And while I'm happy to tout that our statistic is a little higher probably than market-wide, we saw only 20% of our clients got POCs to production in 2023. And if you read the hyperscaler sources, they estimate only about 5 to 6% of Gen AI POCs were making it into production. And to me, that indicates that we're in very early days of Gen AI implementation across the board. So, and I think when we spoke last, we were at the peak of Gartner's, overinflated expectations or whatever it is, and maybe now we're in the trough of whatever pit of despair. That's Princess Bride, I think.
Disillusionment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that also means that in another year or two, AI, should be mainstream, right? So.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, and certainly, my goodness, it does seem like we were just hearing constantly about different things rolling out. So to hear those figures of what's actually come to fruition is interesting. How would you describe some of the main challenges? Why did this happen?
There's probably two things. First of all, there's a segment of our clients that really completely withheld, and it's a small segment, but they completely held from the use of Gen AI. And personally, I think that regardless of sort of corporate policy, people are going to use Gen AI in their work, and they're just not going to share it with their employers. I think Harvard Business Review said, somewhere around 60% of employees are using AI in secret, right? Which means that you can't hold back the tide. And so, while I think only a small number are not using Gen AI, I think the fact that there exist many companies that are completely banning, that there exist companies that are completely banning the tool is indicative of the complexity, right? And so most enterprises are wading through security, data, governance issues, and you couple those challenges with the current market recession environment. And then you compound it with this sort of business executives that are pressuring the tech leaders to show, the media hyped promised AI results. And it puts a lot of pressure on CIOs and CTOs and chief digital officers to quantify the POCs carefully. So the specific challenge I would sort of categorize into three ways. So the POC helped them sort of on their journey of still forming a long-term AI strategy,
Right.
but a lot of them are like there's absent or nascent governance and security policy in place to deal with Gen AI. In fact, I think the terminology now is responsible AI, right? So a lot of
Right.
enterprises are really struggling to define what is responsible AI. And then the third challenge, I think, which is more the area that we're kind of dabbling in, which is the existing legacy tech debt, is really poses a challenge to adoption of some of the Gen AI tools to be as full as they could be. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So we had two tour operators and one B2C agency that they all wanted to kind of tackle reimagined AI powered search. And the POCs surfaced that really the underlying data in their organization wasn't ready or available to bring results. And so they kind of said, okay, well, the POC was, we proved our hypothesis, but it was a negative proof. And these companies, they have these pockets of valuable information that are siloed and they're scattered throughout the organization. And it's difficult to locate and use it holistically.
Yeah.
And so what does this mean? I mean, it's to me that now we're in the seasons of the advent of what I call the necessity of a modern data platform. And a modern
Okay.
data platform will help these organizations make connections across the information so that the AI tools can actually surface and integrate the insights that the business wants to use, and they'll help predict and accelerate and do the things that they want to do. But if they don't have a modern data platform in place, it's prohibitive to really seeing great advantages from Gen AI. And I will add, and I know I'm sorry I don't get a chance to talk to you, but once a year, so I'm sharing lots of excitement. But there's there's a number of advantages to when you get there, right? So what we're seeing from our clients is they've got availability and quality of data, and these Gen AI models, they require vast amounts of data, high quality data to train effectively, right? And so modern data platform ensures that data is available, it's clean, it's organized, all of which is essential to train reliable models. They also have scale and performance. So it's vital for Gen AI, which needs obviously to analyze massive data sets. They've got integration, accessibility, surfaces data sources, like I'm telling these ones that are locked, analytics and processing. These are foundational for real-time machine learning. And of course, security and compliance, which you're going to hear for a long time around ensuring that data is compliant with regulations, which is crucial for handling all the sensitive data. So
Yeah.
if those things aren't compelling enough to sway leaders that that's the direction that they need to go towards, Microsoft touts that 60% of IT employees say that AI is outpacing faster than their company can keep up with. And it's only going to get faster with the new frontier
Yeah.
models that are coming out. So in simple terms, the trend two is modern data platform prerequisite to leveraging advanced Gen AI capabilities.
Okay, that's great advice for everyone out there that wants to try to be smarter and more strategic about their use of generative AI, which is probably everyone, right? So I'm wondering, where do you see kind of the best opportunity
Mm-hmm.
as you think about implementations?
Yeah, so it goes back to the strategy. And I think when we look across our client base, not just the travel portion, but really all the industries that DataArt serves, we're witnessing a growing set of enterprises who are beginning to track towards adopting centralized platforms for Gen AI. So they're bravely sacrificing the near-term gains to bet on longer-term results promised by Gen AI, and that takes a lot of courage in the current financial environments for many companies. So this does take more time than an organic sort of POC-driven approach to looking at specific business use cases. But it's my prediction that the fastest movers may not be the winners in the AI race. I do believe that having a central AI platform will pay dividends in the long run because the functions like imagine legal and the sales department and the customer service department, product management, engineering, marketing, they'll all feed their own pieces of data into the centralized platform and they'll all benefit from the shared resources. So,
Okay.
whatever large language model the company's, using at that time and whatever the company's proprietary sort of small language models, the AI agents, the tools, the operational data, the forecast, it all becomes a hub and spoke model for the business. And I believe the companies that are taking this approach are going to be the ones that have the long-term acceleration use of Gen AI in the future. I'd share one more trend that's specific to a sector in
Okay.
travel, which is around agencies. And
Okay.
so I think agencies are really, both leisure and corporate agencies are ripe for Gen AI adoption. And I know a lot of them are testing and POCs and stuff like that. But agencies have such siloed data. Operationally, they're dense and viscous in terms of getting to these various data sets. And there's many areas that we've touched upon that agencies can really leverage Gen AI and margin management and content management, business rules, quotes and quote generation, refunds exchanges, quality control. I can go on, but there's a lot of areas that agencies can touch. And one example that really brings this to bear is one of the top 5 TMCs we're working with is using Salesforce Agentforce, which is their version of a Gen AI tool for trip support with an autonomous AI agent. And it's still a work in progress, but we've already implemented the email channel. We're going to deploy to voice quite soon, and the last channel will be chat. And together, it'll create a really omni-channel AI agent experience. And I think that's just demonstrative of the number of areas that can be touched and used with Gen AI without, I think people are worried about agents getting shelved. That's not going to happen, right? It's going to be a collaboration of co-pilots and agents working well together and increasing
Right.
the efficiency of things that they can do. But this is really, I think, an area where you're going to see a lot of use cases come and a lot of productivity gains for companies in this space.
Okay. Yeah. Super interesting. So I've heard that DataArt has created an accelerator. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Our team has
Yeah.
built a travel RAG accelerator, right?
Okay.
And a RAG is, in order to build your own models, you're going to use that to tune your own data with a RAG. And it's not very cleverly named, Mitra. It's called a travel RAG or TRAG, not to be confused
Oh.
by drag.
Yeah.
It offers really an alternative to the out of box offerings that the hyperscalers like AWS and GCP and Azure offer. And this gives you the ability to customize your own RAG, but still employ best practices. And we offer that to our clients as an accelerator, of course, free of charge. But it is one of the ways that agencies and other sectors can leapfrog in the Gen AI race.
Yeah, really interesting. And I do think, as you're talking about some of those more like concrete examples of implementations, it does feel like as we start to hear about more of those and things become a little more real, it's only going to, hasten the pace of development for sure.
And the next frontier model that comes out that has us all, I mean, what's OpenAI has talked about, agents are the next frontier model
Yes.
for them. So it's going to be interesting times for sure.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Before we wrap up, really quickly, I would just I know we've been hearing talk about the connected trip concept for
Yeah.
quite some time, where kind of every element of a traveler's experience is linked and seamless and feels a bit like utopia at this point. But what is your take on the connected trip and how we can get there in relation, in particular, to AI?
Yeah, so I connected. First of all, the connected trip is something we've been talking about for a long time, and but I think the technology that AI brings, the tools that it brings to play, and the forced change underneath that's going to, as I said, change the data that's underneath is going to bring us. Is going to leapfrog us forward in being able to produce a connected trip. And I think it's not going to just come from the data underneath. It's going to come from the hyperscalers offering tools that people can widely employ and see the benefits from that. So Microsoft has already announced their decentralized ID.
Yeah,
AWS has got a product that they're offering. So I think, and Apple, of course, with
yeah,
WDC and now their announcement of Apple Intelligence, I look to one of the larger firms to kind of come and put the sort of ID in the hands of the traveler. And once we have that, then we have a hook that we can all hang on to. We hate
yeah.
the sort of standards in our segment of the world, but a centralized ID would really help connected trip
Yes.
enormously. So
Yeah.
that's my prediction anyway.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll be, that's one maybe we'll be talking even more about next year then when we touch base again.
Or
So.
yeah, or in Phoenix. I can't believe I
Yes.
got to fly to Phoenix to see you when you're here in Orlando. But
Yeah. Yeah,
looking
and of
forward to
course,
it.
AI will be top of mind at that there for sure. So wonderful. Well, Greg Abbott from DataArt, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me back. Always a pleasure to talk to you and your team, Mitra.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.